Give you a little bit of an idea of how Pegasus works with the 9 muses. And perhaps you in your own starlight chart have a strong Pegasus connection. Wouldn't it be nice to know that in 2026, you can galactically co-create in quantum in all time space with one or several of the 9 muses to make this year, 2026, your most inspirational year ever. So the story goes with the 9 muses that work with the beautiful winged horse Pegasus. The 9 muses are in Greek mythology, and having traveled recently to Siena in Italy, they're a house of government. And I was noticing that there were these images of the muses in one of the rooms. And I was like really curious because right away I recognized one of the muses, and her name is Urania. So Urania is known for working with astronomy. And one of her markers is this idea of carrying a compass and the celestial globe. So she works with all things celestial. But of all the 9 muses, there is one that is like the head muse, and her name is Calliope. And she represents epic poetry. So isn't that interesting that 2026, even though you might not consider yourself to be a poet, that sometimes the words might flow. Like again, I'm just doing my watercolor this morning. I'm working with a particular color, and suddenly my thoughts keep going back to Pegasus and the mother Medusa. So Calliope, she's usually depicted with a writing tablet and a stylus. So if you see the idea of one of the muses holding a tablet and a stylus, this is the epic poetess. The third muse that I wanted to talk and share with you about is Clio. That's Clio. And she represents the muse of history. Are you the one that always goes back and remembers specific parts of history? Do you find yourself turning back in time to understand where you are? She's also known as the proclaimer. So she's the one shown carrying a scroll and a chest of books. Now, I so relate to Clio because I've got a wall of books that I've collected over the years, and I sleep with them in my room. And it's like, it gives me so much joy just having the historical books with me, whether it's astrology, human design, hand analysis, etc. Okay, so good to know, Calliope, Clio. The next of the 9 muses is Erato. Yeah, Erato. And there's a specific aspect that Erato goes into, and it's called love poetry. So her name means lovely, and she's typically represented holding a lyre and accompanied by Cupid. So when you think about the stories of paintings and historical paintings, oftentimes we'll think, oh, that's Venus. But instead, it could be Erato holding a lyre and Cupid. The next muse, I have to spell her name for you, Euterpe. So Euterpe. She brings music and lyric poetry. So I'm trying to read this going, oh, she's known as the giver of pleasure. Okay, so her symbol is a double-reeded flute. Interesting how music and lyric poetry can give us pleasure. The next muse is an interesting one. She represents tragedy. And there's something innate in our humanity that, like when we drive by a car accident, what forces us or compels some of us to take a look, even though we don't want to. So tragedy, think Shakespearean. Her name is spelled Melpomene, Melpomene. So the muse of song, she's famously depicted holding a tragic mask and sometimes a sword or a club. Oh, good. I don't know. There's something interesting about the human being that we are drawn to tragedy. We want to see how the hero or heroine makes it out of the epic battles. The next muse is for sacred poetry and hymns. So if you find yourself drawn to sacred poetry and hymns, her name is Polyhymnia. So Polyhymnia, Polyhymnia. She's portrayed in a pensive, meditative pose, sometimes wearing a veil. Interesting. The next muse is for dance and choral song. Ooh, interesting. So if you're a dancer or you like to get up and dance or you want to get up and dance, call upon this muse. Her name is spelled Terpsichore. I'm going to guess Terpsichore. Her name means one who delights in dance. Get our bodies up and moving. Okay. And she's often seen dancing while holding a lyre. Somehow that sacred lyre, the harp of Orpheus and Mercury, bringing in the music, the sonic frequency, to not only get us moving, but maybe also to get us in tune. All right, so there's the ninth muse. Her name is Thalia, Thalia. Wouldn't it be interesting if you were named or call yourself Thalia? She is the muse of comedy and idyllic poetry. So she's identified by a comic mask and a shepherd's crook. The festive muse. I don't know. So let me run through their names again to see if there are those that you want to invite in and maybe even be part of your star Merkaba, 12 stars of light to support you in the center, the 13th, in 2026. So we start with the head chief muse, Calliope. Then there's Cleo with history, Erato with love poetry, Euterpe with music and lyric poetry, Melpomene, tragedy, Polyhymnia, sacred poetry and hymns, Terpsichore, dance and choral song, Thalia, comedy and idyllic poetry, the festive muse. And I'm going to give a big underscore to Urania, who represents astronomy, the muse of the stars and exact sciences, holding up the celestial globe and a compass. Okay, so if you've been drawn to astrology or sacred geometry or exact sciences relating to the celestial heavens, if you find yourself always looking at the James Webb Telescope imagery from the heavens, call in Urania. And don't forget, you have Urania's mirror. This is that book of cards that talks about the heavens. So I want to have you get interested in Urania a little bit more. Okay, I hope that helps. With Pegasus bringing in these 9 muses, there's the potential for co-creation, higher levels of creativity. When you know the name of the muse, when you know the name of the fixed star in Pegasus, it could be Scheat or Merkab or Kerb. It just gives a more specific algorithm to supporting you in this now moment if you want to play the game of alignment and algorithm. Okay, that's all I have for you now. Thanks again for subscribing to the Ascension Playground. Your comments and feedback are really helping me stay encouraged and keep these little videos coming. Take care, everybody, and we'll see you next time.